Who are you guys?
My name is Justino Zoppes. My friends call me Jay-Z. Easy to remember, but I don't have his money.
Maybe you do, just keeping it funny.
That's the plan, yeah.
My name is Daniela Zoppes, and I'm his wife.
The boss.
So currently, I am a realtor with Keller Williams. We do luxury homes and kind of specialize with more boutique clients. Hubby here has also been through many lives, and well, you take your part.
Long history. Basically started off as a professional entertainer, 7th generation professional entertainer. Moved into performing big stadiums and theaters, and then met this beautiful lady in New York and performing New York. And then we started performing together, which was awesome. After a couple of years being apart, that was very hard. Finally said, okay, we're getting married and gonna do this together. Started doing that around the world and had a pretty elaborate production show that we were very proud of and kind of took it to a whole new level in 50 some countries.
54 countries.
54 countries around the world. And then this really minor thing happened called COVID, and everything kind of went off overnight. It was like, by the way, everybody's done worldwide. And very depressing Facebook feed for the next couple months. From Broadway to the West End to Vegas, it's like all of my friends in entertainment field, it wasn't like, oh, something happened in Florida. It was something happened worldwide and shut us all down. So prior to that, she was already like wanting to get into real estate because she wanted to be home with her daughter. And
so we have a 10-year-old daughter.
Yes.
Yes, our daughter's Ariana. She's kind of the boss.
The real boss.
We're the workers, she's the boss. So we work to support her bougie habits because she's very luxe for a 10-year-old.
Don't take our daughter to if anybody wants to date our daughter, expect you're not taking her to McDonald's, because we go to a restaurant and she asks, do you have lamb?
Do you have lamb?
Oh, God.
She's high maintenance, but that's how it should be.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was getting into real estate, and then COVID happened. So she went full speed with it and did amazing. And 9 months later, my best friend who worked at BMW kept telling me, because we drove 2 BMWs already at the time. I loved the product, I loved the brand, and he said, you should do this for a living right now, because you're actually doing my job every day. I'm always showing people the car, give them test drives, show them the technology, and he's like, you can do it and actually get paid for it. So I was kind of reluctant for a long time, because I was like, I don't know, and then I tried it and it went really well. Started here in Lakeland, and then kind of got promoted to follow him over in Tampa. Kind of loved that product, so then I started in sales for the last 3 years. Yeah, so she was selling the garage and I was selling the car for it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So today things look a little different though. So that, with that job, any job has its kind of pros and cons, but that particular job, just comes with a lot of hours. Mm-hmm. And so previously to this, we'd always been together, right? So everything we'd done in our world, we were together doing it as a team. And so for about 20 years, we did everything as a team. But it was really weird to not be part of each other's team, I guess, because he had his standalone position. I'm building this team here.
It was weird. I'd get up in the morning and she'd go right and I'd go left on the I-4. It was like, that's strange. Before we always went the same direction.
Yeah, and we were always kind of like helping empower each other to what's next? What are we doing next? What's the next project? And it was different. It was like you had your kind of life, I had mine, and we're just not used to that. I know a lot of people say that's amazing. Like I could never work with my spouse. That would be the worst thing in the world. We heard
that a lot, actually.
A lot. They're like, how do you guys work together? For us, it's the opposite. Like we work together. We work better together than we did apart. And so some people don't understand it. They're like, well, that's going to be hard. Like so many people have told me when he's coming on the team, that's going to be so much. And I'm like, actually, no, because we each own our part. We're respectful of each other's position. And I think we're really good at picking.
And it's not always smooth sailing. I mean, do we fight? Do we argue? 100%. But I look back in our history and go, you know what, every fight, every argument actually led us to find a balance. It wasn't my way, it wasn't her way. We kind of met in the middle and kind of got exactly where we needed to be. So that was one of those things that was like, it really works out when you're actually using that criticism to then go back and be like, yeah, she's right. I got to do this.
Yeah, and the minute you don't tell each other you're right,
you're sure I get bonus points there. Right?
No, I think it's true. Like it does take a specific personality to be able to like live together, work together, tour together, and then step on stage, perform together. And you have to really learn to pick your battles. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Is like there's times where something's just not that important to me, and I'm like, okay, fine, you get this one, and I really don't care. And then I know, I can see in his face, he doesn't say it, but I can see he's like, okay, you can have this one.
And one of my best friends in Australia once told me, if you can live with your spouse in a 8-foot cubicle on a cruise ship for 9 months, you can survive anything.
That is
And we toured all around the
ground.
world, and I'm sorry, anybody, you're the person you idolize, you put them in an 8-foot cubicle and live there, you will see how fast you start to find problems.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we did good. We actually had one of the best times of our lives on that tour. Yeah, we survived.
I kind of feel like no matter what, we talk about this all the time, like no matter what life throws at us, we take a minute, we're like, okay, so what's next? And I think that's kind of our thought process is we try not to sit in it too long. We just figure out like, okay, what do we have to do next? What's next? What's next? Trying to teach our daughter that too, like just be like thinking on your feet, don't be afraid of what's coming. Kind of embrace it because there's a reason that it's coming to you. And we've always said that no matter what we've learned in life, we've used it in the next phase of our life. We just didn't know we needed it yet.
So I got into, I'm a nerd. I love, computers and video graphics and video editing and photo design. And I never realized that when I went in Australia, we went to a university to learn all this stuff. And I was working at a casino at night, or we were working at a casino at night, but in the daytime, I had all this free time and went and learned all this stuff. Yeah, student by day, entertainer by night. And I came back and it was just to learn this on the side. I didn't realize that I would end up using all of that to create video graphics and projections and video mapping and projection mapping, pixel mapping for all the shows we did. That all came from that knowledge I learned. Yeah. And even now, 3 years at BMW, I mean, gosh, I've learned so much. Stuff that I never thought I would be using out of that market, but it's like, oh, this stuff's in the back of my head now. I went to finance training. I got certified in finance. I never wanted to do finance. I never wanted to be in an office and do finance. But I went there because the more you know in any job, the more you're going to have the answer and understand the person that you're working with and why they're doing the things that they're doing. In the dealerships, it's funny because you have service department, sales department, and then finance department. And I see in a lot of those businesses, it's really hard to make that a true team. They want to be their own business and fight each other. And I think the more people that can learn everything, my previous boss, my manager, knew everything in every department. In entertainment, I knew everything. There wasn't a single thing in that theater that I didn't know how to do. So when some lighting guy would be like, that light can't do that. Actually, it can. Let me help you do it. So I think the whole show became better because I knew everybody's position, and I also appreciated how much work it took those people to do those things. So I wouldn't ask them to do things that I wouldn't do for myself because I understood how much work it took. And I think in the same thing when in real estate and in business as well, in sales, it's like if everybody can appreciate that a person's position and job, they'll understand it better and be able to work better with each other. Yeah,
and it's also really important, right, to be key focused on not on ego, but on your client base because. And we've talked about this before, and it's people get into the space of like it's about the transactions, about the money, and we've never been. Although the money is great, we've never been about the money because the money has always come for us because we've poured ourselves into the project. We pour ourselves into whatever we're doing. We're 110% in. So it's not about, like I said. Don't get me wrong, money is nice, but it is not about the money. It's about the experience that we're giving. So when we stepped on stage. And we have an entire theater full of people who are getting that elevated feeling after we're done with our performance. And they give us a high too, because, we're giving to them, they're giving.
There's no better high.
Yeah, they're giving to us. So that, it's a give and take, right? They're giving to us, we're giving to them. But again, it's a very pure moment. And I think we've transitioned that into sales, which is why we've been so fortunate to do so well. And like, he hasn't said it, but he was number one at BMW. They offered him to be manager to run the store. So he's done very well to say he didn't come from sales, but because we're naturally geared towards people, connectivity, I think that just merges to the next phases that no matter what we do, I feel like we're just, like I said, cats, we're just gonna land on our feet, get back up and be like, okay, what life are we on? Let's go.
So my daughter was laughing at me a couple days ago because I'm not working at BMW anymore. Chose to stay home and spend more time with the family and do something we can work together. And the first 3 days that I was home, I am not working for them. And I was still answering calls, answering texts, replying back to emails, organizing things.
She's like, Dad, I thought you weren't working
Dad, I thought you're not working at BMW. She's like, why are you calling customers? I'm like, because they needed help. And I don't want to just be like, oh, sorry, not my job anymore. And I think that's what makes us a little bit different is when it came to entertainment, it was never by the clock. You didn't get paid by the hour, you got paid to do the job, and that was it. And we wanted the job to be the 110% to the best of its possible ability. So the difference is when I was in sales, yes, I was done, the customer's gone, but I was gonna stick around until 9 o'clock at night to make sure that they left super happy, everything that they were promised they received, and I didn't worry about the money in entertainment. I negotiated it, we did the contracts a year in advance, but the day of the show, I couldn't tell you what we were making for that show because I was only focused on
Sometimes
making sure
I would ask him,
the
like,
audience,
oh, so what did we make for this gig? He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, you don't know? Like, what do you mean you don't know?
And I usually invested more in the show than I probably made because I wanted it to be better than I even originally sold to them. But the same thing goes for in this department. If you take care of the customers, you're not worried about the money or the gross or the profit, and you're just making sure the customer is always happy, the money will come.
Well, and also to speak to that, like how refreshing is it sometimes? We went to Starbucks the other day, we drove through and this girl at the window who was giving us the coffee, she was amazing. She was so polite, so nice, just like you felt refreshed after getting your coffee. And we looked at each other, we're like, so why does that feel rare? Why is it rare that we're getting a cup of coffee and this girl did us such great service in that 30 seconds that we interacted with her that it kind of went, oh, this is refreshing. It shouldn't be that way, right? So service should come with that expectation. Like, let's just talk about waitressing, right? So you go there and automatically gratuity puts on top of the bill. And I have no problem with that, but I don't feel that everybody is giving the same level of service. So why should everybody be blanketed the same way? And I feel that no matter what you're doing in life, if you're really giving true service and you're giving everything you can, then everything organically will come from that. And you don't have to work twice as hard to try to pitch people to be salesy. I can't stand salespeople.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Can't stand them.
I never tried this. This is really funny. I actually got a few reviews when I first started in Lakeland that best salesman we've ever had, best advisor we've ever had, loved working with him. We didn't buy the car, but he was still better than the person we bought the car from. And I was like, well, wait a minute, that's kind of strange. But it was funny because we didn't have the car at that time. It was very beginning of COVID. There was no cars on the lot. But I spent so much time to make sure that they didn't just buy something that was here on the lot that they didn't want, that they'd be unhappy about. I mean, I went through this with my wife. She wanted an X4 after I got the first BMW. By the way, was so mad at me when I got my first car. Oh my God, you bought a BMW, you didn't need that.
No,
was it a month later?
It's because you bought an egg. It didn't look like a BMW.
Hey.
It was an electric, and I love electric cars, but I promise you, this thing looked like an egg. And he pulls in the driveway, he's like, I got a new car. I'm like, that's what you bought?
So
that's the BMW you bought? Okay.
I was driving to Sarasota and back every day in this massive Infiniti QX80 that was
What was the car you bought? What was it called?
It was way ahead of its time. If you watch any movie,
you're not answering.
Wait.
You're not answering.
If you watch Upload on
See how
Prime,
he won't answer?
I think it's on Prime. They use the i3 as a futuristic car 30 years from now.
It looked like an egg. Promise you.
It was
like
really
you could
cool.
have decorated it for Easter.
It was designed in 2010. It came out in 2000. Like mine was in 2017. This car today is the most futuristic car of its time. It was super cool.
You're really defending it.
Yes, I am. I defend you when I'm out of this room. Come on, I'm defending my car.
I can defend myself. I can defend myself.
Hey, I love a motor. But this one was pretty cool too. It was like the world's fastest go-kart. So now that you know a little bit about our backstory in our life, now you kind of realize where we're kind of heading, that all of our past experiences, the way we understand how customers and our previous audience members and our each other work, we're gonna use all that to provide the same quality luxury experience to help you find your next dream location and do it in a way that makes it kind of entertaining, fun, and hopefully the best value for you.
Yeah, and you're definitely not going to forget this guy. He's very memorable. So, and don't forget about our sellers. So a big portion of real estate will come from the sellers, and that will go completely seamlessly through. It's kind of the same service model, but different. So sellers have a lot of questions. Buyers sometimes don't always know what they're needing to know, but sellers usually will interview other agents. They'll be really picky and really concise about what they're looking for. And so for us, making sure that we're always servicing the seller and being able to be informed for the buyer is where we're going to be excelling, I'm sure.
So with that being said, I hope to be the person you call to help you with any questions you may have. She's a smart one. You can ask her before me, and I'll be the goofball that entertains you in the process.
He said it. I agree.